Hi, I'm Dan Stanton, editor of Bioprocess Insider. I'm in Vienna at BPI Europe, and I'm talking with Jim Fries, the CEO of Rx-360. Jim, welcome.
Thanks.
So, Rx-360, tell me a bit about your company.
Well, it was actually formed 10 years ago. This is our 10-year anniversary this year, which is really exciting for us. We're based around the idea of we're a member-based organization of pharmaceutical medical device companies that really have a special interest in supply chain security and patient safety. We were founded 10 years ago because of the heparin contamination incident. And because of that, the industry really turned to a focus of saying, what can we do together to make sure things like this don't happen again?
So since then, 10 years ago, how have you expanded? How are you solely focused on small molecules and ingredients like heparin, or are you now looking at biologics and other areas like that?
We actually look at all areas of the supply chain, really, even getting down to do some work with data integrity. We do some work really in different segments, whatever might touch that entire supply chain algorithm or pathway, we play in. And really, we do it on behest of our members. They come up with the ideas, we help facilitate it, and really work on industry problems. You asked about expansion. One of the things that I'm really proud of at Rx-360 is how we expanded internationally. Even though we're based in the United States and we're a US-based nonprofit, we actually operate globally, whether it's in China. We just recently launched our Latin America working group, Africa. So we play in all different aspects around the world because supply chain security is a global issue.
Can you tell me about your audit programs?
Sure. So that's one of the reasons that I'm here at BPI Europe, is because I was presenting on actually our joint audit program and a collaboration we have with BioPhorum, in which we actually are auditing through a joint approach, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a moment. Single-use systems. And it's a pilot that's really based around best practices. And when we look at our audit programs at Rx-360, they're very, very quality-based, and they're based around a joint model where multiple members or organizations or pharmaceutical or medical device companies really will join together to go out underneath of us, go out and audit a facility.
And is this audit program being driven by your members, the pharma industry itself, or by regulators, or a bit of both?
No, it's actually being driven by us. It's an in-house program that's been around for about 6 or 7 years. And over the last 2 years, we've really seen an expansion in how we do things from a best practice standpoint, and for really helping the industry. Auditing is not something that you wake up in the morning and just do. I've learned that over the last couple of years, and looking at how we've been able to take this joint approach and almost give it back to the industry to say, hey, we're here for a resource for you, because let's face it, every company in America has their own internal audit program, right? So we're here as a resource to help them out through this joint approach to maybe fill gaps in what they're doing.
Are you hoping to eventually get some sort of regulatory recognition for your program?
Yeah, so we actually worldwide right now have a very interactive and really, I would say, good relationship with regulatory bodies, whether it's the US FDA or whether it's other regulatory bodies around the world that we're actively in communication with. What we like to do is be able to constantly provide them information on what Rx-360 is bringing to the industry, whether it's through supply chain security or auditing, and allow them to say, hey, here's some extra things that you could do. Can you help us out here? But have that open and collaborative relationship.
There seems to be, within the supply chain in pharma, quite a few almost competing auditing processes and companies. How do you work with them, or how do you compete with them? And what's kind of the end goal as far as auditing goes in the supply chain?
So you're right. I think the world of auditing has exploded over the last few years. And to me, I think it's just because of the way Rx-360 is formed and run, being a nonprofit, member-run organization. I technically don't get all caught up in the idea of competition. To me, Rx-360 is here to serve the industry and to serve those members. So we actually, for me, the audit program for us, the joint audit model, is a resource for our members. So for lack of a better term, I don't get caught up in all that, because to me, Rx-360 is here to serve, and that's what our audit program does.
You mentioned before, Jim, that you're working with BPOG, looking at a joint audit approach for single-use systems. That was the title of your presentation earlier today. Can you very briefly talk me through that?
Sure. So I guess you go back 6 or 7 months ago, BioPhorum, or BPOG, actually had the idea of doing some type of a best practices pilot around single-use systems. And their thought process was, how can we improve upon, because the use of single-use systems in manufacturing is going through the roof, right?
Sure.
So how can we improve upon the idea of auditing of those single-use systems? They approached us about a partnership, and it was something that was very interesting to us. And lo and behold, it literally was just a series of meetings where we decided around metrics that we were going to measure. We're using membership on both the Rx-360 side as well as the BioPhorum side as part of the pilot, and we're actively looking at doing 12 audits at different suppliers around the world. We've done 4. A lot of our metrics currently that we've reported out are qualitative, but we look forward to being able to finish all 12 audits, have good solid quantitative data, and hopefully get a paper published around the work that we're doing.
And I guess, how do you hope that would serve the uptake of single use going forward?
I think it serves 2 purposes. For me, the big one is education, right? Is that we have the ability to do this pilot and come up with really new kind of cutting edge ideas on better ways to audit single-use systems. So because of that, I think by nature, you'll see the utilization of single-use systems go up. And then on the quality side, these auditors that work not only on with third-party auditing companies, but also internally at large pharma organizations and that type of thing, they'll now have some guidelines or standards that they can go by that were outputs of this pilot.
Well, Jim, that sounds fantastic. Well, enjoy the rest of your show.
I will.
Thank you very much for speaking to me.
Thank you.
Thanks.